It is 11:04 a.m. on a Thursday. You are walking down a busy street in Chicago. The sun is shining, but suddenly the sky changes. Above the skyscrapers, the blue atmosphere ignites into a blinding, violent shade of violet and crimson. It looks like the northern lights, but it is daytime, and you are too far south for auroras. People stop walking. They look up, pulling out their phones to record it. But their phones are dead. At that exact second, every transformer in the city explodes. Not just a spark, but a catastrophic failure. Manhole covers are blown into the air by underground steam pressure. The traffic lights go dark, instantly. The hum of the city, the ventilation fans, the distant trains, the electric cars, cuts to absolute silence. You don't know it yet, but the modern world has just ended. 8 minutes ago, the sun ejected a mass of plasma the size of a mountain range directly at Earth. It traveled at 3 million miles per hour. This is a coronal mass ejection, or CME. It smashed into Earth's magnetic field, compressing it until it snapped. This has happened before. In 1859, a similar storm called the Carrington Event hit Earth. Back then, telegraph wires sparked and set paper on fire. But in 1859, we didn't have an electrical grid. We didn't have a civilization that requires electricity to pump water, preserve food, and keep 8 billion people alive. Today we do. And the grid just died. Welcome to the Blackout simulation. To understand the severity of this, you need to understand the physical weakness of our power grid. It relies on extra high voltage transformers. These are not the small canisters on telephone poles. These are massive, house-sized, distinct machines weighing up to 400 tons. They are the backbone of the transmission network. When the solar storm hits, it creates a geomagnetically induced current in the ground. This current seeks the path of least resistance. That path is the copper wiring inside these giant transformers. The current spikes, the copper melts, the oil inside boils, and the machine fuses into a useless block of metal. The United States has about 2,500 of these critical transformers. In this scenario, we have lost 80% of them in less than 60 seconds. Here is the problem. We do not have spares. These transformers are not sitting on a shelf at Home Depot. They are custom built by hand. They take 18 months to manufacture, and they are mostly made in Germany and South Korea. But Germany and South Korea just lost their grids too. The factories that build the replacement parts no longer have power to run their machinery. We are stuck in a catch-22. We need electricity to build transformers, but we need transformers to get electricity. Let's enter the simulation through the eyes of David. David is a senior system operator at the PJM Interconnection Control Room in Pennsylvania. He manages the flow of electricity for 65 million people. At 11:05 a.m., David is looking at a wall of screens. Usually, they show green lines indicating stable frequency at 60 Hz. Right now, the board is flashing red. The alarms are deafening. He watches as the Eastern Interconnection, the largest machine in the world, destabilizes. He tries to initiate a black start. This is a procedure to reboot the grid using isolated power plants. He calls the bewildered operators at a natural gas plant in Ohio. The line is dead. The localized SCADA systems are fried. The microchips controlling the gas valves have been shorted out by the electromagnetic pulse. David realizes the terrifying truth. This isn't a blackout. A blackout is when the switch is off. This is a burnout. The switch is melted. Day 1 ends in darkness. The auroras are still dancing in the sky, beautiful and terrifying. By day 3, the immediate threat is not the darkness. It is the water. In modern cities, water does not flow by gravity. It is pumped up into water towers and through pipes by massive electric turbines. Most cities have diesel backup generators for these pumps, but they only have fuel for 72 hours. On day 3, the taps in New York City run dry. You turn the handle and nothing comes out. The toilets don't flush. Simultaneously, the cold chain collapses. This is the temperature-controlled supply chain that moves food from farms to your table. Without refrigeration, the dairy, meat, and frozen goods in every grocery store in America spoil within 48 hours. The smell of rotting food begins to permeate the suburbs. People are feasting on whatever they have in their freezers before it goes bad, hosting blackout barbecues. They think the power will be back in a week. They are wrong. Day 10. The panic sets in. Hospitals are now death traps. Their backup generators have run out of diesel. Ventilators stop. Dialysis machines shut down. The electronic locks on pharmaceutical dispensaries fail or are smashed open. But the real horror is at the nuclear power plants. The United States has over 90 commercial nuclear reactors. When the grid goes down, these reactors automatically scram. They shut down the fission reaction. However, the fuel rods are still incredibly hot. They need to be constantly cooled by circulating water for months. This cooling requires electricity. When the diesel backups run dry on day 10, the pumps stop. The water in the spent fuel pools begins to boil off. We are now facing not one Chernobyl, but potentially dozens simultaneously. The government, operating from hardened bunkers, has to make a choice. Use the last remaining military fuel reserves to save the people or save the reactors. They choose the reactors. Military convoys divert all available fuel to the nuclear sites to prevent a radioactive fallout that would cover the continent. This leaves the civilian population completely on their own. Day 30. The Great Migration. Cities are uninhabitable. Without water and sanitation, disease is spreading. Typhoid and dysentery are back. You cannot stay in your apartment on the 30th floor because the elevators don't work and there is no water. Millions of people begin walking out of the cities. They are heading to the countryside, looking for farms, looking for fresh water. But the rural areas are not ready for them. The farmers are in trouble too. Modern industrial farming is not like 1859. You don't plow fields with horses. You use GPS-guided tractors. You use electric milking machines for cows. Without power, the cows are in agony and dying of infection. The automated irrigation systems have stopped. The crops are dying in the fields. When the starving city crowds arrive in the rural towns, they are not greeted with open arms. They are greeted with roadblocks. The country has fractured into survival zones. Month 6, the Techno-Primitive Age. The population has plummeted. Those who survived the first winter did so by burning their furniture, their books, and the flooring of their houses for warmth. The government has effectively collapsed. The sheer size of the disaster made centralized control impossible. Communication is limited to shortwave radio enthusiasts who have become the new news networks. Here is the twist. The most dangerous loss wasn't the light bulb, it was the knowledge. We store all of our technical knowledge digitally. Schematics, engineering manuals, medical textbooks, manufacturing codes. They are on the cloud or on hard drives that we cannot access. We are surrounded by technology we can no longer use or repair. You pass a Tesla on the side of the road. It is a masterpiece of engineering. Now, it is just a useless sculpture of aluminum and glass. You have a solar panel on your roof, but the inverter that converts the DC power to AC power was fried in the initial surge. It is useless. We have regressed to the 1800s, but we lack the skills of the 1800s. We don't know how to shoe a horse. We don't know how to cure meat without refrigeration. We don't know how to treat an infection without antibiotics, which are no longer being manufactured. Year 1. The new normal. The sky is blue again, the sun is calm, but the silence remains. Small communities have formed around old hydroelectric dams or surviving solar arrays that were shielded. These are the new seats of power. Electricity is now the ultimate currency. If you can charge a battery, you are a king. The plan to rebuild the national grid is estimated to take 20 years. We have to mine the copper by hand, smelt the steel with coal, and wind the transformers manually, relearning the engineering as we go. The Carrington Event didn't destroy the planet. The Earth is fine, the trees are growing, the animals are thriving without human interference. It just destroyed the specific, fragile layer of copper and silicon that we floated our entire existence upon. We built a Tower of Babel reaching for the stars, powered by lightning trapped in wires. And the sun, the very thing that gave us life, decided to take it back. So look at the outlet on your wall. It looks like a simple plastic hose, but it is the umbilical cord of our species. If that cord is cut today, do you have a plan? Do you know where your water comes from? Do you know how to grow a calorie? Tell me in the comments. If the lights went out forever, where is the first place you would go? I'll see you in the comments while the screens are still on.